Hello, hello. Welcome back. Today we're doing more of a podcast style video, and this is going to be so good. We're going to get into some super deep topics. And yeah, here we talk about everything that isn't really talked about everywhere else. And I think you're really going to love this. So we're talking about how to actually get what you want in dating and in life. And we're going to hit some deeper points that, most people don't talk about because it does trigger people and people do get offended and mad, but this stuff does need to be said because it's the truth and we all want to be living our best lives, and that goes with, knowing the truth, right? The truth will set us free. So, there is a major problem in today's society that really needs to be discussed. So, I'm going to do it with my audience, even though I know you guys probably don't need this because you guys are always striving for excellence and being the best you can be and all of that. But we're talking about more of the world issues. And what we're going to talk about is about women, but the same goes for men. I mean, men do this too sometimes, but I don't teach men. I teach women so they can attract their ideal man and live their best life. So what we're talking about today is women's expectations. And as a side note, like I said, I'm not talking to you wonderful ladies who follow me because you are trying and working on being the best you can be, and you strive for excellence and virtue. I'm talking about the world at large here. So, you know how I teach, make a list of the qualities you want and the reciprocal of those that you need to have so that your ideal man would actually be interested in you. And we know to skip the physical because those fade and it's so superficial and it has nothing to do with how he'll treat you, right? But I think this point needs to be expounded on as some people brought to my attention, and one in particular. And that is, there is a major problem in today's society. And that is that women in the Western world, not all women of course, but a majority, so we'll generalize for the purpose of making a point, have set their goals so high that they will never find the man that they want. Because even though, I teach you guys not to list or look for the physical because that fades, they will still look for it. And I'm not telling my women or anyone to lower your standards. Quite the contrary. I'm telling you to right size your standards so that you'll have success. Because the top 10% of men or the top 1%, they want a specific kind of woman, right? And that's totally fine if that's not you or me. Just be honest and go for someone that's in your league, someone that will be happy with you. And as you probably know, there are so many studies out there that show that most all women these days are overvaluing themselves and think that they are the top 1% of women when it comes to looks, personality, and desirability. And as such, they are looking for men that are at least what they perceive to be the same level as they. But when asked what they expect a man to bring to the relationship, we've all heard this, many women will have a huge laundry list of things that, the man must bring and satisfy. Yet when the women are asked what they bring to the table, they get offended, and the only answers they tend to give are either, I am the table, or, well, I bring myself, of course, as if that should be enough. And of course, people who are getting into these ego fights are not healthy, grounded individuals. A masculine man knows what he brings and what he's looking for. And a feminine woman knows what she is to bring too. She knows the value that she brings. And yes, what each brings is different, but each must bring character and values. And until you know what you bring, you're not ready for a relationship. And I totally know this because when I was younger and I didn't know, what is a woman supposed to bring? What is all this about? And that's because I was not ready for a relationship. And as you start learning and studying and, talking to other people who have successful relationships and learning about life and, all of this stuff, you start realizing what you need to become so that you do bring something to the table. Both parties need to bring 100%. So let's find where I was. Yes, so a masculine man knows what he brings and what he's looking for, and a feminine woman knows what she is to bring too. Yes, what each brings is different, but each must bring character and values. And I know I repeated that, but that's because this is important. And until you know what you bring, you're not ready for a relationship. Now, what you bring is not something you start listing out, on the date or whatever. It should be seen, if you're embodied in it, and it will show naturally. Like the fact if you take care of yourself or not, or take effort in your appearance, or are healthy, or are fit, or have a beautiful, gentle, sweet personality, or if you are feminine, or if you're a good cook. These will show. And here's another point. You guys know that I teach or advise, not to sleep around. And that's not because I want to hamper your freedom, but it's because it actually protects you and your heart. I have other videos on this, so if you want to understand this deeper, go check them out. So it is scientifically proven that women fall in love with men when they sleep with a man. And that is because a chemical is released that makes, the woman bond and to only see the good things in that person. And if people would listen to that advice, I wouldn't have to add the second point, but here we go. There is a big problem nowadays because women are sleeping with more and more men. There's women who are proud of themselves because they have what is being more and more labeled as body counts. And of course, men do this too, but just because some men do it doesn't mean it's okay, nor that it's okay for you to do too. They are proud that they have body counts in the hundreds, sometimes, meaning that they've slept with hundreds of men. And when women sleep with men, there's a chemical hormone that is released in your body that causes you to become bonded to that man. However, when women sleep with different men, that chemical hormone loses its stickiness. Like when you make a piece of tape not sticky anymore because you've used it so much, right? So that chemical becomes diluted, just like coffee. If you are drinking 5 or 6 cups of coffee every day, the caffeine loses its potency on you, and it no longer really works on you. And that is what happens with women. When they sleep with many, many men, they almost lose the ability to become attached to any one guy because that hormone no longer really works for that woman. With men, it's almost the opposite. A man can sleep with a woman one time, but the hormone that is released for guys is different. It takes multiple hits of that hormone for him to get attached or bonded to that woman. So each time he sleeps with a new woman, it pretty much resets that chemical bond in his head. So the more he sleeps with the same woman, the more he becomes attached to her. Another thing that needs to be pointed out is that women, as well as some men, have too little value in the relationship these days. And this is easily proven as the divorce rate in marriages is over 50% now in Western society. And about 80% of divorces are initiated by the woman. And the woman is most always the one favored in court and given the kids, and it's very skewed. As 80% of divorces are initiated by women, women aren't committing to the relationship once they choose the man that they want to be with. And here, in America, the women are choosing who they want to be with, right? You are choosing the guy. You're not being made to be with a certain guy. So it should be easy for them to stick it out, right? Because they chose the guy. But that's not what happens, at least for most women. If you allow the man to take you on dates and you start giving hints that you'd like to enter into marriage with him, and you two discuss that sort of thing, both of you need to be prepared for it. And especially the women, since women are the ones initiating most of the divorces. Because wedding vows are very personal and powerful. Look into the words and fully take in what the vows mean. Through thick and thin, till death do you part. So just because, or for richer and poorer, that too. So just because you are experiencing a bit of turbulence doesn't mean you wipe your hands from that marriage and say, oh, well, I guess that didn't work out. Women need to right size and be realistic in their expectations and goals of what they want. Because on the one hand, women are saying that this world is run by the patriarchy, that it's a man's world and women have no rights. Women claim that women get paid less than men, yet look around you. Open your eyes. Use your head instead of just parrot talking things you've been told to think. And one thing that will like blow your guys' mind is watch the interview by the former KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov, which I shared on my community like a week or so ago, and it is the most amazing interview. Or you can just Google it, Yuri Bezmenov, like a former Russian KGB agent, and his interview, and it's astounding. It talks about how we are just force-fed facts and statistics. Sorry, not facts. We're force-fed like statistics and things to think, even though they're not even true. And this stuff doesn't just happen in Russia. This happens in America. So we need to make sure that we're looking into the truth of things, not just saying stuff just because we've been told them, right? And, he talks about propaganda, and it will open your eyes to the propaganda, which means lies, that you are getting fed. So, look around you. Women are graduating from schools more than men. Women have more scholarships than men now. In many cases, women do make at least as much as men now, if not more in many instances. Women CEOs tend to make more than male CEOs of the same field, which you can easily look up and see. But now we have a problem. Women claim they want to make as much as men, but women are now more educated and make the same amount or more. Now women want to get married, but they want to find a man that makes more than them. And there's a problem here, right? On the one hand, they want equality to men, but on the other hand, they want a man that is doing better than them. Do you see the problem here? There is a double standard that you're digging yourselves into. You're sabotaging your own chances. And to continue with this, the man who wrote all this out as these are facts we all need to keep in mind and that I needed to talk about with my audience, or, with at least the people that I get to talk to, even though the world probably needs to hear this. He continued saying, "I'm not saying all this because I hate women. On the contrary, I love women. I'm a heterosexual male who sees what has happened in Western society, and I'm now looking at possibly moving out of the Western society to somewhere else where I can find a traditional woman. Much like what this lady is, what I believe trying to describe. There's just some very important things she forgot to say, or maybe she plans on saying in another video, I don't know. But it is so important women drop the masculinity and become feminine again. There's nothing wrong with being a trad wife, as they call it these days, a traditional wife. In fact, I can promise you that the traditional wife will likely live a much happier married life than that power CEO wife who makes more than her husband and is working the 9-to-5 job. Although as CEO, she's much more likely working 12 hours a day on average and is earning more than her husband. We'll end it out with this. Men were designed to provide and protect their life partner. It makes men feel good. It makes the man feel valued, important, needed. All the man wants in return is to be respected, loved, needed, and appreciated. Make sure your man feels respected and needed, and he'll likely go through hell and back again for you. So, I'm going to be doing more of these types of videos, you guys, so definitely comment your ideas and thoughts, and I'll be looking forward to seeing that. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.